Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years and shares her insights on the local housing market. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO.
We sure appreciate you making Missoula Real Estate Today a part of your weekend. Thank you so much. And a return guest, although it's been, I think we're approaching about 10 months here. Clint Burson. Clint is Director of Government Affairs with the Missoula Area Chamber of Commerce. Clint, how are things at the Chamber?
Things are good. They're not quite as in-person as they used to be, but hopefully we'll get back to that soon.
Yeah, you're right. We'll talk about that a little bit as the show rolls along. What all is the Missoula Chamber of Commerce Director of Government Affairs primarily responsible for? We'll do a little refresher course here to get started.
Sure. So my main responsibilities are to kind of be the liaison between businesses and government, whether it's local, state, or even on the federal level. So I attend a lot of meetings. I talk to a lot of elected officials, a lot of government employees, and then I share what I learn with our business members. And then when I hear concerns or problems from the business community, I take those back to the government side and make sure that they're aware of them and look to find solutions.
Now, when the Montana legislature is in session, which I guess we are now, does that increase that activity? Does that put more on your plate?
Oh, just a little,
Yeah.
During the legislative session, we're also tracking all of the bills that are introduced and figuring out which ones will have an impact on Missoula businesses. And those that are going to have a significant impact, we'll discuss with a government affairs committee that we have here at the Chamber, and then also the board of directors. And then if they choose to do so, they can take action and either support or oppose legislation. And then it's on me to get letters of support or opposition and or testimony before the legislature.
Now, I'm not trying to catch you off guard here, Clint, but is there an example of that? Is there anything big right now that those lawmakers are considering that you've already had to present?
Sure. So none that we've had to oppose at this point, but the governor has released a package of 6 bills that are aimed at improving the business climate and the economy in Montana. And a lot of them deal with tax breaks and tax incentives, and we have just voted as a board to support those bills. So we've submitted letters of support to the governor's office, which they'll be presenting to committees at the legislature as they start having hearings.
All right. Now, Director of Government Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce, Clint, is that a typical position, Clint, at other chambers of commerce, or is that kind of unique to Missoula, or somewhere in between?
It's somewhere in between. So it really depends on the size of the Chamber of Commerce. Fortunately, in Missoula, we have a pretty good-sized chamber with a number of staff, and so there's room for a position like mine. There are colleagues of mine in Billings and at the Montana State Chamber and the Helena Chamber, and then other chambers around the state. Usually the CEO of the chamber will kind of pull double duty and act as a government affairs type person, but that's not their full-time job. Here, it's my full-time job.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO, with Clint Burson, Director of Government Affairs for the Missoula Area Chamber of Commerce. And Clint, I also, since it's been quite a while since you've been on, we should also ask you how you came to the position that you are in with the chamber.
Sure. So, it's a long story. I'll try to give the highlights. I started out...
We got plenty of time. Don't you worry about that.
I started out when I was a college student, which was way too long ago at this point. I was a debater, and we debated a lot of public policy. And so that kind of sparked an interest in how policy is made, how policy decisions get done, and kind of figuring out what the pros and cons of policies are. Then my career path kind of took a winding road. I worked in a number of different industries before ending up in media for a while, and I worked down at the Valley Republic down in Hamilton.
Right, yeah.
I was a copy editor down there, but I also did a lot of the editorial writing. So again, anytime public policy kind of interacted with, readers and the public, that was something that I was interested in and invested in. And then that led me to here at the Missoula Chamber and just getting the opportunity to put all of that experience together and all the different background I have from working in a number of different industries. And really it's all about communication, which is where I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's and a master's in communication, and that's really the essence of my job, is communicating, whether it's with our members or with government folks, and building those relationships.
Right. Now, I'll ask you to do the starting lineup, what other positions make up the Missoula Area Chamber of Commerce?
Sure. So I'll start at the top.
Yep.
Our CEO is Kim Luttrell, and she kind of oversees everything and makes sure that we all stay on track and stay focused. Then we also have a director of operations. That's Kimberly Hannon, and she's really our CEO's kind of right-hand person. We have 2 folks that deal with membership. One is Mark Losh, who is our director of membership, and one is Vanjie Callison, and she's our director of member engagement. And she basically answers all the questions that members have about what their benefits are and what they need to do in order to take advantage of those benefits with our members. And then finally, our director of finance, and that's Frank Cudilla.
What is the perception of specifically the Chamber of Commerce, or maybe the perception of chambers of commerce? If you had to explain to someone who's rather uncertain what all you provide to a community, how do you tackle that?
Well, it's the first thing I usually have to start with is that we're not part of the government.
Yeah, I knew that was coming, right?
A lot of folks think that we get money from the government in order to operate, and that's not true. All of our funding comes from our membership and sponsorships for events that we hold. In a normal year without a pandemic, we would hold a number of networking events throughout the year, which allow business members in our community to get together and chat and catch up and make new connections, so that as they're conducting business, they have a kind of a full Rolodex, kind of dating myself by saying Rolodex, a full Rolodex of folks that they can call on for services and goods. The other piece that we do outside of the networking and connections is a lot of advocacy work. We address local regulations and statewide regulations as well, and really work to make sure that the business climate in Missoula is as good as it can be and set up so that businesses can start and thrive and grow and move here, and all the things that are necessary for a community to thrive and have jobs for people who live here. Right. So those are the kind of the 2 main things. And, there are lots of things that fall under that, whether it's advocating for federal funding through a build grant, which we did a couple of years ago, or working to improve access to quality, affordable childcare in Missoula. All of those things touch business in one way or another, and those are the kinds of things that we advocate for. So like I said, in a normal year, we do a lot of events where we're bringing people together and allowing them to connect and learn about other business opportunities in the community.
Clint, I guess one of my perceptions would be is if you want to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you would probably own or operate some kind of business, which of course is true, but are there people that don't necessarily own or operate a business that for whatever reasons they want to be a part of the chamber?
Yeah, we do have that option. It's an individual membership. I'll be honest, it doesn't happen very often.
Sure.
Most of the time it's a business coming in and joining the chamber. And when they do that, all of their employees, are welcome at chamber events and become, part of our mailing list for when we send out information about what's going on in the community. So, our primary market is to the businesses. But then once we bring in a business, we're also bringing in all of their employees as well.
Okay, right. Yeah. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest is Clint Burson. Clint is the Director of Government Affairs with the Missoula Chamber of Commerce. And you mentioned, of course, talking about all of the positions at the chamber membership, which Mark and Angie are involved in and do a great job. But what is recruitment like these days, Clint? Has it changed much in the past 10 months? How do you go about keeping membership healthy?
Well, fortunately, that's not my job.
Right.
That's Mark's job. But really, kind of the focus on what he talks to folks about has changed a little bit over time. And it actually started before the pandemic hit us. And we started emphasizing a lot more of the advocacy work that we do, because that's probably the biggest benefit to folks. We live in a technologically advanced world where connecting with people just gets easier and easier. So it's saying that you're providing networking is not really enough anymore. It's really about the advocacy work and the service that we provide to our members. Most folks that are business owners or business people don't have time to sit in a bunch of government meetings. They don't have time to track down a government official and ask questions. And, for some of them, it may be hard even just to get a hold of them. Whereas because we represent such a large group of businesses, we're a lot more likely to get in touch with folks and be able to get answers to our questions and advocate on their behalf. So it's a pretty valuable service that we offer, and that I think that really has driven membership over the past couple of years. In addition to all the work that we've done on things like the Build Grant and child care, and helping businesses address issues around addiction.
Yeah, I would think you always almost described yourself, or maybe you did describe yourself as an advocate for those businesses. I would think that element alone would keep you pretty darn busy over there, It does. It does. There are times of year when it slows down a little bit, and those times are great. But especially in a legislative year, it's super busy, and it's kind of an all hands on deck kind of thing. And right.
Fortunately, we've learned how to Zoom really well. So we hold a lot of meetings by Zoom these days, and that enables us to work quickly despite the challenges that the pandemic creates.
And as far as, you talked about, no, we are not a government agency. That's one question you get asked a lot. But what other kinds of questions do you get asked from business people who are considering establishing a presence in Missoula and interested in being in the Chamber of Commerce?
They usually really want to know just what they need to do in order to start a business here. Often they're folks that are coming from out of town or out of state, and they've come to Missoula on vacation. Mm-hmm. And they see that we've got this fantastic river running through town, and there's opportunities all over town to go hiking or to go fishing or to do mountain biking or 100 different recreational opportunities. And they really want to live here, and so they want to know what it's like to bring a business here and operate a business here, and really kind of what that climate is like. So we do our best to show them. We partner with a number of other organizations around town, like Missoula Economic Partnership, the Missoula Organization of Realtors, the Midtown Association, Downtown Association. All of us kind of work hand in hand and make sure that any questions that they have, we make sure and get answered, and any help that they need in order to move a business here or start a business here, we make sure that they get taken care of.
Still, of course, dealing with pandemic issues, do you find, Clint, that there's maybe, are there fewer inquiries? Are there more inquiries? Is there more reluctance? Or I'm sure it depends on the product and the business, but is there more, let's go, now is the opportune time? Have you noticed any kind of ebb and flow there in the past 10 or 11 months?
It kind of seems to go in waves, honestly. When the pandemic first started, we didn't really see a real big change, but then as time wore on, it started to slow down a little. And then since the new year, it's really picked back up again. So I think as vaccines are released and people are getting a little bit more used to how to operate in this world,
right,
things are starting to pick back up a little bit and feel a little bit more normal in a business sense. The way that they operate may not be the way that they used to. But understanding that business must go on, whether it's work from home or work in the office. And so things are starting to pick back up again.
Sure. What are some of the other benefits of being a Missoula Chamber of Commerce member? You've highlighted a few of those, but what else comes to mind?
The two biggest that I can think of are, we offer a number of marketing opportunities for businesses to be able to market their goods or services to other chamber members. And then the other piece of that, too, is just the connections that this office can provide. Our CEO, Kim, has been here for, man, I've lost count of what the number is, but it's something like 47, 48 years, and she literally knows everybody. So if any of our members have a question about how they can get a hold of someone or get something that they need for their business, she probably has them in her phone.
Right. And
she can make those connections. And then all of us that have been here, we interact with so many of our members that we can make those connections for them. In my own personal position, I can make connections with, any of our locally elected folks, the statewide elected folks I have contact information for, and I work with the staffs of all of our congressional representatives as well. So I can help get them in touch with pretty much anyone that they need to talk to on a government level. And those connections are really valuable and something that a lot of folks don't have access to.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, and our guest on the program this week on News Talk KGBO, Clint Burson, Director of Government Affairs, Missoula Chamber of Commerce. Clint still uses a Rolodex. He's old school. He's one of us, folks. And what's that?
I will admit I don't actually have a Rolodex.
Oh, shoot. You had me going on that one. Now you're going to have to get one, or you're going to make me look bad there. We'll get back to more questions to you in a second here, Clint. But I do want to thank some of Diane's marketing partners that helped bring you Missoula Real Estate Today: Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage, Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. And it is time for the Becktacular listing of the week from Diane Beck. This is its 17605 Calamity Lane. That's in Houston. Amazing views, a lot of privacy and seclusion in a Montana dream home. Its owner-builder built custom for his family with all the bells and whistles. Everything is on one level, open concept with a split plan with the master on one side, private access to deck, and the other three bedrooms on the other side. Vaulted ceilings throughout, surround sound in the living area. The amenities list just goes on and on. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,892 square feet on 20 acres. That's at 17605 Calamity Lane in Houston. And if you'd like to know more about that one, you can contact Diane Beck at the Windermere office on South Reserve, or get more information at her website, move2missoula.com. That's move, the number 2, Missoula.com. Back to Clint Burson, Director of Government Affairs, Missoula Chamber of Commerce. Clint, a Chamber of Commerce, of course, is tasked with a lot of persuading, if you will, to get events and businesses to come to a community. And what are some of the challenges to that for an area like Missoula?
The biggest challenge these days, and it's great that we're on a real estate sponsored show, is
Sure.
that, the biggest challenge is housing these days. Housing's in short supply. And so we've been working with, other organizations in town and local officials to figure out ways that we can speed that up. We are actually hosting a meeting with some folks from the construction and development community with city planning officials tomorrow to figure out ways that we can speed up the process a little bit and, get more houses and more homes built for folks. That seems to be the biggest challenge these days is housing. And then the other challenge that we hear frequently is workforce. We just don't have the people to fill the jobs that are out there. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can't have workers move in without a place to live, and you can't get enough built because you don't have enough workers.
That's got to be how would where would a Chamber of Commerce be able to step in and possibly help with that? I mean, that almost seems like an impossible question or problem for you to try to solve is recruiting employees. It's
not easy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But we're working with both local officials and state legislators to address some of the issues. There's a bill that we're supporting at the legislature that would allow for an expedited subdivision review process in some areas. And one of those areas would be a town like Missoula that already has zoning and water and sewer infrastructure in place. It would allow for an expedited review process because a lot of the environmental questions have already been answered in the planning process. So doing that again during a subdivision review process isn't as necessary. So we're supporting that bill. And then we also have been real supportive of trades education and opportunities to earn while you learn. And as part of that, we've worked with the Montana Department of Labor to create a website for Missoula companies to be able to, not just Missoula, but all of Montana companies to be able to post unique job opportunities that they have. And these are really focused on job opportunities or career paths where the employer pays for you to learn the skill. Now, of course, a lot of those are centered around trades, but they're also in things like the medical field and insurance where there are apprenticeship programs for some of those jobs. And people that want to get into those career paths can actually learn on the job so they don't end up in a career, after 4 or 8 years of college and have tens and hundreds of $1,000s in debt. They're working from a debt-free position and with really good paying careers. The trades careers in particular are in really high demand right now and pay really well. So you can be making, a six-figure income with zero school debt, and you've been paid to learn that job.
Right. Well, since you are just a footbridge away, I would like to ask about the Chamber of Commerce's relationship with the University of Montana. How do the two of you interact?
We interact a lot, actually. The university is one of our visionary members, so they're our highest level sponsor throughout the year. And then we work to everything that we can to help the school succeed. We recognize as a business community that the success of our community and businesses in our community is 100% dependent on the success of the university. As one goes, so goes the other. And so we've worked together with them on a number of things. Most recently, we worked with them on a campaign that you and your listeners may have seen around town is stickers that are on a number of businesses that say, "And each of us beats the heart of a grizzly." And that really is an effort on the business community to kind of step out and say, we support our local university. And it's kind of the first step in an effort to paint the town maroon. And as we get back into being able to host sporting events, then our hope is that a lot of businesses and folks around town will really bring out the maroon colors on game day and support our university in a more visual fashion. And then this last week, we've been talking about a documentary film that is called The House That Rob Built. It focuses on, the UM's girls basketball coach and the program that he built and how he was, one of the first to recruit players from reservations and the success that he's had and what that's really done for women's basketball, both locally and across the country.
I make a cameo in that film. Well, actually in the trailer, Clint.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm the public address announcer for the basketball team, and I was asked to, I had to say something like, and introducing the head coach for the University of Montana, Lady Grizz, Robin Selvig. It's in the trailer. So I keep watching the trailer over and over just so I can hear me for 4 seconds, Not in the film, just the trailer, but that is coming out right now. That is an exciting project, and I'm just dying to see it. I was invited to the private showing last year and I was out of town. Clint Burson, who is the Director of Government Affairs, got off on talking about me there. Missoula Chamber of Commerce on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. And Clint, since we are on a real estate show, some of the common interaction that the chamber has with local realtors who are members. Yeah,
so from my point of view, I interact with Missoula Organization of Realtors pretty frequently. Dwight is my colleague over there handling government affairs for that organization, and he and I talk regularly about things. Also from that organization, Jim Bashan is their executive director over there, and he sits on the chamber board, actually, and he makes sure that our board stays informed of any issues affecting the real estate agents and brokers in our community. And then, most of the real estate agents and brokers end up being members of the chamber as well. So we get to interact with them when we do have events. Their whole business is built on relationships. So they're real good about coming out and visiting with us and networking with other business members in the community.
You are a terrific interview. This has been a great show. I can't believe we're down to like the final couple of minutes here, but I guess I'm going to skip down a little bit and just ask you about other projects around town that you're putting in extra time working on these days at the Chamber of Commerce.
Sure. So the main things that we're focused on are initiatives. And so we continue to work on improving access to affordable quality child care. We work with the Missoula County Public Schools to, get Cold Springs Elementary, or the former Cold Springs Elementary, leased to a child care provider. And he's been busy working on kind of transforming that into a child care center. In the meantime, he's also started offering school-age child care for some of those older kids who have been on hybrid school schedules, so that when they're not in school, they're still being helped with school projects and in a place where their parents can go back to work and not have to stay home and keep an eye on them throughout the day. We also continue to work with a number of organizations around mental health and addiction and helping businesses understand what are the resources available to them. We've already talked about the work that we've done with the university and a little bit about the legislature. Both of those are initiatives that we started this year.
Right.
And then we continue to be very involved with the Build Grant and the build out of the kind of the area between Mullen Road and Broadway. There's a number of planning meetings that have been happening, and we stay involved with that, and we continue to advocate for further federal funding for that area to make sure that infrastructure is built out there and helps keep the cost of development low, because that's a big area that's targeted for some serious development over the next decade or so, and we want to make sure that housing is affordable for Missoula's workforce.
And as you know, having been on the show, I always like to ask about recent success stories. Anything the Missoula Chamber of Commerce was actively involved in recently that you are especially proud of?
Yeah, the biggest thing that is a real recent success, and we're right on the verge of launching officially, is the Workforce Connections website that we've developed with the Montana Department of Labor. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but it's been a 2-year project that we've been doing this, and we're really excited to launch it across the state, and we'll be featuring it at our State of Missoula event, which will be a virtual event, and that's currently planned for March 17th, so St. Patrick's Day, and it'll be over the lunch hour, and details on how to sign up for that will be coming out in the next couple of days, but we're finalizing everything right now, and we're real excited to launch this website, and as part of that, Governor Gianforte will be our keynote speaker, and he has endorsed this project and is 100% behind it, so we're pretty excited.
Excellent. Clint, if anyone would like to know more about the Chamber of Commerce here in Missoula, what's the best way to go about that? Just
give us a call. It's the phone number is 543-6623, or you can email us at info, it's info, at MissoulaChamber.com.
Clint Burson, Director of Government Affairs with Missoula Area Chamber of Commerce on Missoula Real Estate Today. Great job, Clint. Nice having you back on the show.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@windermere.com, or for a complete directory of Diane's listings, visit move2missoula.com. That's move2missoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.